has enabled video accept. Hello, how about now? Can you see our picture up there?
We see a picture of Grand Canyon National Park. Ask a Ranger.
Oh, excellent. Well, that's all you need to see. That's perfect. In just a moment, you will see us as well.
Okay, we actually saw that before, but we thought we were supposed to be seeing you.
Oh, no, well, we're hidden. In fact, in just a moment, Ranger Ann's going to hit a button, and you're going to see that I've been here all along.
Okay.
Check this out.
Hi! Boys and girls, what do we say?
Hello, everyone.
Stand up. What do we say? Okay, now you'll be seated. We have some of my children are sitting in front of my laptop, and then we've got some sitting in front of our smartboard. And then we're going to switch places later, so you can see part of the class now, and part of them are just seeing you on the big screen. So we're doing it both ways. Okay. Well, welcome to our class.
Well, we are so excited to be able to connect with you guys today. Thank you so much for that warm, wonderful welcome that you just gave us. We'd like to start by introducing ourselves. My name is Ranger Amala.
And my name is Ranger Ann.
Yeah, we've had a great chance to look at some of the wonderful questions that you sent us. And along with those questions, we've gone ahead and put together some pictures and some videos for you to help answer them. And just keep in mind, along the way, you might come up with even more questions. And so if you do, either keep those in the back of your mind or maybe quickly write them down. And we'll keep some time at the very end for some additional questions too. Does that sound like a plan?
Yes!
All right, excellent. Well, Ranger Ann is going to get started by introducing us to the National Park Service.
All right. So, boys and girls, we're so excited to join you today. And first, my very first question to you. Now, you guys live in Illinois, is that right?
Yeah!
Yeah. All right, and we're going to talk about where the Grand Canyon is in just a minute, which state we're in. But I want to ask you, has anyone been to the Grand Canyon before? Raise your hand if you have come to the Grand Canyon and visited here. Okay, a couple of you there, and maybe there's a few others by the smartboard, possibly.
There's one in this by the smartboard that says he has.
Okay, great. Well, the Grand Canyon is this image right behind me. It is a big, beautiful national park. And national parks are places where all the plants and animals, where they're protected. This is a safe place for them to live. So this is very, very special. And it's very special to visit national parks. You guys actually have a national park, a couple of national parks in Illinois as well. Have any of you ever been to, I think it's the Lincoln National Historic Site, where the president, Abraham Lincoln, had his home? Yeah, some of you have been there?
Yes, and
Good.
two guys
That- here-
We didn't.
What's that?
Yes, we did. Yes. Yeah. So.
Good, good. Yeah, that's very special, very important part of our nation's history. So national parks protect all kinds of things, not just plants and animals, but they do also protect very important historic places, like where Abraham Lincoln lived. So let's take a look at the National Park Service badge. You can see this on my sleeve here. It's the badge that all National Park Rangers wear. And anytime you go to a national park, whether it's in your home state or whether it's here at the Grand Canyon or somewhere else in the country, you will always see the same badge. That's how you know you're in a national park. So I'm going to ask you guys, and your teacher can call on you. I want to ask you a few questions before we answer your questions. So my question to you is, when you look at this badge, this represents all the things national parks protect, all the things that they keep safe. So raise your hand and tell me one of the things that you see in this badge and what you think it protects.
Daniel?
I see like either Grand Canyon or a mountain.
Okay, that's a great one. This one right here, right? Yeah. So this is a big, giant mountain. And when you start to see some more pictures of the Grand Canyon, you'll realize that we don't have any mountains here, but we do have things that are very, very beautiful. And so this mountain on our badge means that in the Park Service, we protect places that are beautiful. So things that you would want to go and see, places where maybe you would take a horseback ride or you would go hiking, or you would just get out of your car and take some pictures because it's so pretty. So this mountain means we protect all of the things that are beautiful and special about our country. That's a great one to start with. Now, what else do you guys see in this badge?
Olivia?
I see a buffalo.
Yeah, the buffalo right here. This is called a buffalo or a bison. Both of those words are correct. And this bison represents all of the animals. So it can be something really big, like this animal here, or it can be something teeny tiny, like a little grasshopper or a mouse. All of those things are protected in national parks, all of the animals. So what else do you see in this picture? There's a few more things.
Jack?
A river in the very back.
Ah, maybe right here? Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah.
This one? Yeah, this is a river or a lake, exactly. And this means that national parks protect resources. So what that means, that's a big word for things like water and clean air that you can breathe, so there's no yucky pollution in the air and yucky pollution in the water. So this is protecting all of those things that help keep us healthy and keep the plants and animals healthy too. That's a great one. And what's another one that you see here? Nobody's said it yet.
Tad?
A tree.
The tree, yeah. So we have this big giant sequoia tree here, some of the tallest trees in the whole world. And then we have some smaller pine trees, and we also have the grass that the bison is standing on. So whether it's a big giant tree like a sequoia or little grass and wildflowers, all those things are protected in national parks. So that's pretty special too. And some national parks are even protected because of the plants that grow there. So here in Arizona, we have a special cactus called the saguaro cactus. Maybe you guys have seen pictures of them. They're the big, tall cactus that have like. Uh-oh, do we have a connection still?
We can, there, okay, it was pausing for a second. Internet connection problem. Okay, there it is, it's fixed.
Okay, good. Well, in any case, many national parks exist to help protect the plants that are there, just like those big cactus that we have out here, kind of near where the Grand Canyon is, not quite right here, but nearby. All right, so there's one last thing, and it's the shape of our badge. What does this shape look like? This can be a tricky one, but try to think for a minute. What is that shape?
An arrowhead.
Arrowhead! That's great! Almost no one gets that on the first try, so you guys are awesome. You're really smart. Yeah, so this is an arrowhead. And what that means is that national parks protect the stories about people. So things like history. So like where our President Lincoln used to live, there in Illinois, that's a protected place. Or out here at the Grand Canyon, you can sometimes find actual arrowheads that Native American people made 1,000 or 2,000 years ago, a really long time ago. So all of those things related to the stories about people and their history are protected in national parks too. All right, well, great job. I'm going to show you a map of our country here. I'm going to stand back. So you guys are over here in Illinois, and where is the Grand Canyon? What state is the Grand Canyon?
Elizabeth?
I said it a minute ago.
Illinois?
That's where we are. Where is the Grand Canyon though, where she is?
Oh, keep right here.
How about Addison?
Arizona?
She says Arizona.
Arizona! Yeah, you got good job. And so Arizona is right up here in the southwest, and where this little star is right where the Grand Canyon is located. Grand Canyon is a really big place, and it takes up a big chunk of northern Arizona. When you think of Arizona, what do you guys think about? What are some words that you would use to describe Arizona? What do you think of?
Luke. Do you want to go say it next to the laptop so she can hear you?
I just forgot it.
Oh, he forgot. Megan, do you want to go stand next to the laptop? She's going to come in with her answer. She's over by the smart board. Okay, Megan. What do you think of when you
Is your
think of
teacher there to
Arizona?
call on you? I can't quite hear.
I think of the Grand Canyon.
You think of the Grand Canyon? That's a great answer because Arizona is called the Grand Canyon State. That's our motto. That's what we're known as. So it's a very, very special park. That's very good. What's something else that maybe you think of when you think of Arizona? I'll give you a clue. Is it, do you usually think it's hot or cold in Arizona? What do you think?
Jack,
Oh, hot,
What?
a little louder.
hot.
Hot. Yeah, a lot of Arizona is very, very hot. And even here at the Grand Canyon, it can be very hot in the summertime. Very, very hot. But in the wintertime, here at the Grand Canyon, it can actually be freezing cold. And we are at very high elevation. That means that if we were to compare it to sea level, we are very, very high up. And so temperatures actually can be pretty cold here. And we have a lot of big trees that grow here. It's not exactly like a desert like we sometimes think about. But some of you actually had questions as to what the Grand Canyon was like. And so to start now answering your questions, we're going to take a look at a video that shows us what it's like here at the Grand Canyon. So not just in Arizona, but here at the Grand Canyon. And I'll answer some of your questions as we watch this video. All right, so here we go, flying over a big forest. And then check this out. The Grand Canyon opens up in front of you. It's pretty cool. Now, a couple of you asked, how big is the Grand Canyon? Well, the Grand Canyon is 277 miles long. It's really, really long. That's a huge place. And another one of you asked, how deep is the canyon? And what is the highest? I see somebody pointing. That was your question, huh?
Yeah, that was
So, is 1 mile deep. So that's over 5,000 feet deep. That's really big. And the highest point is 9,200 feet above sea level on the north rim. Huge. Now you can see those people that were at the edge of the canyon, and when we zoom back, you can also see how wide the canyon is. Someone asked, how wide is the canyon? Well, the canyon is 10 miles across. And in some places, it can be even bigger. It can even be bigger across. And when you look, here you can see the entirety of the canyon. Look at that. All the way across this whole top part of Arizona. It's a huge place. And so from all the way up here near the Utah border, all the way down to where it meets Nevada, that is the 277 miles. Now the canyon is very old. And somebody in the class asked, how old is the canyon? Well, the canyon itself started being carved by the Colorado River. And that place, that means it's about 5 million years old. That is super, super old. But have people been alive for 5 million years? Have people been around? No, not quite that long. No way. So when Grand Canyon became a national park and it became a protected place, that was 1919. That's when it became a national park. And so that's been just a little under 100 years. But the canyon itself started forming 5 million years ago. So it's very, very old. All right. Now somebody else had a question that stated, what is the terrain like in the Grand Canyon? Well, is that yours? Okay. So you can see some of the terrain right here. What does this image make you think of? What do you think the terrain looks like when you look at this? Go ahead.
Tad?
Yeah,
Nice
whoever
and loud.
else who asked the question, you can answer it.
I forgot.
What does it look like?
Megan, do you want to do it again? Megan's coming. Okay. She was the one that did the question. Okay, go
I
ahead.
can't quite hear. Did anybody say anything?
Yes. Say what it looks like. What does the terrain look like?
Terrain kind of looks like a bunch of rocks. Kind of.
It does look like a bunch of rocks, doesn't it? Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of rocks here. We have cliffs like these ones right here. We also have these big slopes. And right here, do you guys see that little brown spot right there? That's the river, too. So at the very bottom of the canyon is the Colorado River. So we have lots of different terrain here. And let's take a look at a quick little video that shows people who are hiking into the canyon. This is a great way to see what the terrain looks like. Can you see those teeny tiny people walking down on the trail?
Yeah.
Yes.
No. Yeah.
So the Grand Canyon, it's a really, really big place.
No, it's not.
I thought they were.
Question. There's sand at the Grand Canyon. And as you can see from this picture, we have a lot of rocks, but we do also have sand. And so that is part of what makes the Grand Canyon's terrain a special place too. All right. So we have got to answer a few of your questions to get started and have a neat introduction to what makes the Grand Canyon special. And now to continue with your questions, Ranger Amala is going to come back out and we're going to get into some stuff about animals that live here. Because a lot of you asked about animals.
Okay, you know
All
what?
right, Scott.
Can we
So
go ahead and
we
switch?
talk a little bit about the variety of plants and animals here at Grand Canyon. We need to stop.
We're switching real quick.
Okay. Excellent.
Nobody's
Just
really
switch.
tired now.
The cue was great, but you seemed really good.
That was
I know that.
Okay, we're good.
Hello, good to see you. All right. So one of the great questions that Ranger Ann and I had was talking about the ecosystems at Grand Canyon. And one of these great questions was, what was the temperature in July and December? Now, Ranger Ann briefly talked about this, but one of the reasons we have such huge differences in temperature is that if you were on the north rim of Grand Canyon, you're at 9,200 feet above sea level. Up here on the north rim, you can get a lot of snow. In fact, you can get 10 to 12 feet of snow every winter. Imagine that, you guys. You wouldn't be able to see out those beautiful windows right now. They'd be covered in snow. So we can get some really low temperatures. In fact, just several weeks ago, wait for this, -22. -22, that's cold, isn't it? That's pretty cold. So they've got some pretty cold temperatures.
had
But let's compare that to the summertime at the very bottom of Grand Canyon. If you hiked from the highest elevations all the way to the lowest elevations, all of a sudden it's as if you're in a desert. And it can be 120 degrees in the shade. That's hot, isn't it, you guys? That's really hot. So we have some huge differences in temperature here at Grand Canyon. But that's also what makes it so incredibly special, because hiking from the rim of Grand Canyon all the way to the bottom, we like to compare it to as if you're hiking from Canada to Mexico. And along the way, you see a wide variety of different types of plants and different types of animals. And that goes along with someone else's question who asked, what kinds of animals live at Grand Canyon? So a lot of you guys wanted to know about the kinds of animals. Fantastic. Well, we definitely want to share some of those beautiful animals with you. But real quick, I just want you to know that we have over 92 different species of mammals. So from mountain lions to bobcats to coyotes to fox, we have all these different types of mammals. We have over 300 species of birds that live here, even more that migrate through. We have over 8,000 insects. So this list goes on. But let me share with you some of my favorite animals at Grand Canyon. This is one of them right here, the mountain lion. Now we do have mountain lions here at Grand Canyon. What's really exciting too is that scientists are studying them, and they've actually put collars around the neck, so similar to a collar that you would put on your cat or dog at home. We put collars on our mountain lions and we can track them. They have GPS units on them, so we can learn more about our mountain lions here at Grand Canyon. And I do believe that someone asked a little bit about, is a puma a predator or prey? Puma is a different word for a mountain lion, and they are a predator. They are a top predator. So when we think of this animal here, what do you think a mountain lion would eat?
Luke, nice and loud.
I'm pretty sure I would eat it.
And speak nice and loud and clear so I can hear you.
Could you go up to the laptop maybe and say your answer?
I think it would be a leopard or a deer.
Ah, very nice. Well, in fact, let's go ahead and show you, if you want to put me in that video, let's go ahead and show you a video. This is what it looks like right now here at the winter time at Grand Canyon. And when we look real close, what do you see right here?
Everybody.
Here, exactly. So this is one of the favorite prey items for mountain lions. They love to eat these amazing deer right here. Now it's a circle of life. These deer too are eating, they're feasting upon some of the greens that we have up here at the canyon. But this gives you a great chance to see some beautiful snow right here at the canyon as well. Excellent. So let's see here. I also want to share with you another one, and we talked a little bit about the mule deer here, but another one of my favorite animals here is the desert bighorn sheep. Raise your hand if you've ever had a chance to see these beautiful sheep right here. A few hands? Cool, cool. Well, I want to show you this amazing video of one of these bighorn sheep eating right on the rim of Grand Canyon. Check this out. This is a female bighorn sheep. You can see that she is eating right on the rim of Grand Canyon, and check out those feet. Bighorn sheep have very spongy feet that almost acts like suction cups where they can grab hold of rocks around them and jump from rock to rock to rock. They have some amazing adaptations to survive here at Grand Canyon. Here's a baby desert bighorn sheep, and then here's another one walking along the Colorado River. Pretty cool chance to get to see some of those different types of animals here at Grand Canyon. I also wanted to quickly show you, check this out. So in the pictures, you can see these are female bighorn sheep. They have these teeny little horns. And so here's one in my hand. This is one of their actual horns, a female horn. But let's compare it to this horn. Look at that. Big difference. So this is a male bighorn sheep horn. This belongs to a ram. Pretty cool. All right, you guys. So to talk a little bit more about some of the special creatures here, we're going to share one of our favorite birds with you, and Ranger Ann is going to introduce that to you.
All right. So I know that some of you guys did want to know about what our favorite animals were, and we've already shared a few of those with you. But my personal favorite animal is this one right here. Look at this guy. Is this the most beautiful animal you've ever seen?
No.
That's crazy looking, isn't it? Yeah, this is a California condor. And this is a very, very special animal because this is an animal that is endangered. Have you guys heard that word before, endangered? Raise your hand and tell me what it means if an animal is endangered. What does that mean?
Addie,
You can tell me.
It means like,
you want to go up to the computer and say it?
it means that they're, that maybe, animals are trying to eat them.
Ah, you're on the right track with that. You're getting close. It's not quite it, but
Uh,
you're very close with that
It
answer.
means that they are this barely row of them alive in the world.
That's right. So that sometimes that happens because animals are trying to eat them, but sometimes it happens because maybe they don't have places to live anymore or things like that, or maybe they're getting sick and dying. But yeah, basically an animal that is endangered means that there aren't very many of them. There's very few that are left in the wild. And so the California condor is actually a bird that in the 1980s there were only 22 birds left in the whole world. That's not very many, because for most birds, there's many tens of thousands or even millions and billions of them. But for the condor, there were only 22 left. And so scientists had to think of some really good ways to help the condors survive. And so now, through scientists helping to raise new chicks and to make them healthier, make them not sick anymore, there are now over 400 condors that actually live in the wild. And we have just over 70 of those that live here in the canyon. So there's still not very many, not as many as there should be. but they're getting a little bit better, which is nice. It's good to know that they're getting a little bit better. So that's one of the reasons why it's my favorite animal, because it's a pretty special creature. Now I want to show you guys a video of what a condor looks like in flight here at the canyon, because their habitat is pretty much the whole canyon. They make the entire place their home. When they build their nests, they will actually find little caves in the rock cliffs to go inside of. One of you actually had a question about if there were caves here at the canyon, and there are caves here at the canyon. Condors like to nest inside those caves. When you look at that big, beautiful condor soaring around like that, it has a 9.5-foot wingspan. That is huge. That would take about 9 of you standing side by side, and that would be the length of their wings. So it's a really, really big bird. That's huge. So what we're going to do now is we actually have kind of a fun little activity to do with you guys, and we are going to learn some of the adaptations, some of the things that make condors special, and some of the things that help them to survive here at the Grand Canyon. So we're going to do a little dress-up game, and I'm going to bring Ranger Amla out, and we're going to dress her up like a condor. You guys want to do this with me?
Yeah!
Okay. Image of the condor again. And what is something that you notice about the condor? What's one of the first things that you notice about the condor?
Katie.
That it looks like it has a big beak, like a really.
Very good. A very hooked beak, doesn't it? Yeah, look at that right there. A nice hooked beak. Now that nice hooked beak is good because the condors eat dead stuff. Ew, yuck. They're sort of like vultures. They eat dead stuff. And so when they find something that's dead, they can use that hooked beak to rip into that meat and eat their dinner. So let's bring Ranger Amla out, and we're going to put our nice condor beak right on Ranger Amla. Uh-oh. Oh, she's looking good. Okay. Now, what else do you see? Look at the picture of this condor.
Cecilia.
Something else that you notice.
I noticed that it looks a little pink.
It's kind of pink, isn't it? Yeah, the condor does not have any feathers on its head. No feathers at all. I want you guys to think for a minute. This bird, yes, sort of stroke your chin, think about this. You're going to be a scientist for a moment. So, the condor eats dead things. Yuck. So, why does the condor need to have a bald head if it eats dead things? Why is that a good thing for it?
Gavin.
So it doesn't get its feathers dirty.
Yeah, you got it. Can you imagine if you were eating dead stuff and you had your hair and you were going "Wah," and like eating lots of yucky things inside of a dead animal, and then it was all in your hair? Ugh, that'd be really gross. So the condor has a nice bald head so that it's easy to keep it clean. The condor, when it's done eating, will go and take a nice bath and wash off its head, and it'll be nice and clean, and it doesn't have to worry about those feathers getting dirty. So let's bring Ranger Amla back out, and let's give her a bald head. Uh-oh. Oh, look at that. Oh, beautiful pink bald head. All right. All right. Now, there's something else about the condor that's pretty special. It's right here. What are these?
It looks like it has 4 eyes.
It just has 2 eyes, just like we do, but its eyes are really, really good. It has very good eyesight. And so it uses those eyes, when it's soaring on the big wings, it uses those eyes to look for prey. Or, well, not really prey, but things that are already dead. So it looks for the things that it wants to eat. So the eyesight is very, very good of the condor. So let's put some nice, beautiful condor eyes. All right. And the last thing we're going to talk about are those big wings. And in this picture, of course, you can't see the big wings. But you saw that video a minute ago where that condor was soaring in the sky. And here at the Grand Canyon, because we have all these little canyons and mesas and really interesting terrain, there's a lot of warm air that will rise up and allow the condors to soar. In fact, they can soar for hours without ever flapping their wings. They don't even have to flap their wings if they don't want to. They can just soar around for hours. So let's take our wings. We've got big wings here. We're gonna bring Ranger Amla back out. And we're gonna put these big wings on her. It's gonna take a minute to get them out.
There, one there. All right, there she is. Soaring over the canyon.
Did you do that for?
Oh, yeah, give Ranger Amla a big, good job. That's very nice of you guys. All right. So those condors, they are very, very special. And Grand Canyon is one of the only places you can come to see them. They don't live very many places because they are endangered. So this is one of the only places you can come to find them. That's pretty cool. All right, now I want to show you two other animals that live here at Grand Canyon. Now we've got right here an animal called an elk. And this one is what do you guys think this guy is?
Squirrel.
Say it out loud.
What did you say?
Squirrel!
Oh, yeah. That's right. Now, somebody asked the question, what are the toughest animals at Grand Canyon?
That's me.
Guess what? It's these two right here. Now, they don't look like the toughest animals, do they? They look kind of like, whoa, they're not like, big, mean animals or anything like that. But these guys are really tough. The elk, with these big antlers, will oftentimes be very aggressive, and they will actually even sometimes approach people and try to get kind of aggressive and show how tough they are. So we want to make sure that they stay nice and far away from people. And in the fall time, when the males are trying to impress the ladies, they'll actually even butt their heads together, just the way bighorn sheep sometimes do, and they'll fight with those antlers and get them all tangled up. So they are actually a very, very tough animal that we don't want to mess with here at the canyon. And then this guy, he looks like a little cutie pie, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why is he so tough?
No.
Well, he is tough because they can live almost anywhere here at the canyon. So they are able to live in all of those different ecosystems that Ranger Amla was showing you before. So they're pretty tough because they can survive in cold, in hot. They can even hibernate in the winter, some of them. So that's pretty special. It makes them pretty tough animals. But they also are tough because they're sneaky. So these little squirrels, if you sit down to have a picnic here at the canyon, they will sneak up behind you and try to steal your food. And is people food good for squirrels? Is that good for them? No way. It's not good for them. But they're so tough and so sneaky that they're going to come up and try to steal it anyway. So when you're here at the canyon, or even in Illinois, it's not a good idea to feed those wild squirrels. Because if you do, they might get so used to eating people food that they might actually try to bite you. And we don't want that. That would be really scary. Every year, people get bitten here by the squirrels. So they don't have to worry about mountain lions, things like that, even rattlesnakes. When people come here, the most injuries that they get are from these little squirrels. Sometimes they'll even jump up on people's leg and try to crawl up them to get their food. So these guys are really tough, and you want to kind of stay away. Look at them from a distance, maybe take a picture, but you want to stay away from them so they don't steal your food and get mean and angry. And then we have one other animal that seems like it would be a pretty tough animal. Take a look at this guy. You can tell me what this look like?
Let's see, hold on. Elizabeth. What is that animal?
I think it is a rattlesnake.
You got it, you're right. Yep, this is a rattlesnake. And someone asked a question about what is the predator for a rattlesnake. So what might eat a rattlesnake? Well, as I said, rattlesnakes, we think of them as being pretty tough animals, but really they're actually kind of scared. They're kind of scared of everything. See how this one is hiding under a rock right here? There are animals that actually want to eat rattlesnakes. Animals like mountain lions. animals like eagles and even some kinds of hawks. They want to try to eat rattlesnakes. So even though rattlesnakes seem like they're pretty tough, they actually spend a lot of their time hiding so that they're not eaten by other animals. And really, they don't want to mess with people either. They're pretty vulnerable, and they can have a pretty scared kind of life. So they're not as tough as maybe they seem initially. All right, well, we've learned a lot about the animals that live here at Grand Canyon, and we're going to switch one more time, and Ranger Amla is going to answer some of the last questions you guys had.
Okay. You guys can switch to.
All right, you guys, I'm so excited because you had some wonderful questions about water. So that's what we're gonna talk about next. Someone asked, how does water come from? Do you guys know where our water comes from?
Olivia?
I forgot.
Who's Jeff?
Oh, from inside the mountains, I think.
Okay, yeah. So earlier, you guys saw that wonderful picture of the deer in the snow. And when you say from within the mountains, you are correct in the idea that we have all this snow that will build up here on the rim of Grand Canyon, and it actually percolates down through these rocks, and it comes out in the form of waterfalls. So here's one waterfall right here that we have within Grand Canyon. We also have seeps and springs and ponds like you see right here. And of course, the amazing Colorado River that carves through Grand Canyon. And I'll show you a little bit more of those pictures first. But what I wanted to share with you is the fact that the water that we drink on a daily basis, the water that we drink or we use to flush our toilets, to cook with, it all comes from a waterfall here in Grand Canyon. Let's go ahead and show you what that looks like. This is Roaring Springs within Grand Canyon. Should be going in a second. So this is Roaring Springs. It is our main water source. It has been our water source since the 1930s. So this is one of those beautiful waterfalls that originates as basically snow on the rim. And when that snow melts and it goes, all that water starts making its way through the cracks and the crevices of the rocks. Here comes this beautiful waterfall. Now it's hard to capture it in a video, but this is several hundred feet long. And you can hike to this if you ever come visit us at Grand Canyon. You can hike to Roaring Springs and see this beautiful water that's coming out. But this is our water source since the 1930s. Pretty cool to think about. All right. So someone also asked, how deep is the water in Grand Canyon? Now, you're probably talking about the Colorado River. And the Colorado River has some amazing diversity to it, absolutely beautiful. And I want to give you guys a chance to see the beautiful Colorado River. And in fact, we'll even give you some sound with this. We're going to turn it up pretty loud so you can hear what it sounds like to be at the very bottom of Grand Canyon. Because most people, when they come here, they don't always get a chance to get to the depths of Grand Canyon. Let's take a look. Grand Canyon can be, the water in the Colorado River can be anywhere from 80 to 100 feet deep. So it's not any water that you want to fall into. But can you guys imagine yourselves out there on that river, rafting through the Colorado River?
Yes.
I already did that.
So we're like, yeah. It is an amazing ability to get a chance to get on that Colorado River and see the amazing wildlife and plants and animals down there at the bottom. Excellent, you guys. Well, one of my favorite questions here was, what was your favorite site at Grand Canyon? And that's probably a really hard question to answer because as you can see, we do have beautiful waterfalls, we have the amazing Colorado River, but something that you guys haven't asked about yet has to do with the human story. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit about this site right here. The human story, people have been living here for 12,000 years. And this is a place at Grand Canyon called the Nankoweap Granaries. Granaries is a fancy word, essentially meaning this is a place where they stored food. In fact, let's show you a really cool video of what it's like to approach Grand Canyon. I'm gonna play it. People who are on the river can make their way down the river and hike up to this amazing spot where people thousands of years ago used the mud to make these beautiful holes where inside they would store food that they could come back to later. Now, if you're on a river trip, it would look something like this, where you can make your way on your first day of the river coming to the Nankoweap Granaries, and look at those trails. There's little side trails where you can park your boat and then hike up to this amazing destination directly above the Colorado River. It is an amazing sight to see and probably one of my favorite sights here at Grand Canyon. Another way to reach it, which is how I've come to it, is by hiking 12 miles from the rim to this beautiful spot to get a chance to see it in person. It's a pretty special thing indeed. You know, the human story at Grand Canyon is pretty special. So I just wanted to give you guys a chance to see some of the things that we have found here. These are shoes made out of yucca. So if you were around thousands of years ago, you would be wearing shoes like this. Pottery, split twig figurines made out of willow bark. Here's another storage area. Beautiful types of arrowheads, and this used to be someone's home. So there's some amazing stories here at Grand Canyon. Now, in closing, we want to show you a beautiful winter shot of what it looks like right now at Grand Canyon. Absolutely beautiful. A lot of people, when they come here, they don't think of Grand Canyon as a place that would have snow. But this gives you a chance to see, as the sun rises over Grand Canyon, the dimensions of this beautiful national park in the wintertime. The colors, the scenery, the hiking, the wildlife. We definitely hope that someday you get a chance to come visit us here at Grand Canyon. Now, if you guys still have a few minutes, Ranger Ann and I would love to answer any questions that you might have.
Cecilia.
Whoa, even more questions. This is great. I like the you're thinking, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're a scientist.
How old is the mountain lion?
Oh, can you repeat your question one more time?
How old is the mountain lion?
How old is the mountain lion? Well, you know, it varies. Mountain lions can live to be pretty old. I think they can live to be 20 years old. Is that about right?
Yeah.
That can be like the oldest mountain lion would be about 20 years old. Sometimes they don't live quite that long, though. They'll get sick maybe, or, you know, sometimes they get injured or even hit by cars, unfortunately, because we do have a lot of people that come to the Grand Canyon. But they can live to be fairly old for most animals, and they might even live a little longer than that. But your average mountain lion age would be about 20. That's a great question.
Daniel, go up to the thing so they can hear.
I think I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay. Tad?
Oh wait, no, now I remember.
Okay, go Daniel. Then Tad, you can go next.
The videos I've been seeing, the one like going into the air, feels like soaring in Disney World.
You say watching the birds soaring around? Is
Yeah.
that what you? Yeah.
Okay, Tad.
It's like that, isn't it? Yeah, like you're up with the birds soaring. That's pretty cool.
Okay, go ahead.
How old are those caves? that store food?
That's a really great question. Grand Canyon is thought to have more caves than any other national park. And the reason we have so many caves is because we have a lot of limestone. And limestone is basically what happens after you've had ancient oceans in this area. And it takes time, and it's a little complicated, but I want you to think about, all that snow that sits up here at the peaks? And then as it starts percolating down through those rocks, finding cracks and crevices, what happens is that water starts to dissolve the limestone, and that's how caves form. So we have a variety of different ages in Grand Canyon. In fact, we have found three-toed sloths inside caves at Grand Canyon. Those guys were around 12,000 years ago, so we know that cave has to be at least 12,000 years old. We even found a skull of a condor in a cave that was 12,000 years old that still had flesh fragments attached to it. How gross is that? And how cool! So we can have more recent caves, and we're still discovering caves today. Good question.
Are there other ways to climb down the canyon?
Are there other ways to climb down? That's a very good question. Most people who are going to come into the canyon are going to hike down into it. But there is another way that you can go down it too. Some people will actually ride on a mule. It's sort of like a donkey. And so that's something that you can arrange ahead of time. Costs a little bit of money, but it's really fun. And you can actually ride into the canyon on the back of a mule. And they take all of your food and all of your extra clothes. And so you don't have to carry anything. You just bring a bottle of water and you ride that mule right down in. So that's kind of a fun way to do it too. Good question.
Olivia?
How old is the waterfall?
Oh man, that's a really tough question. Man, we've actually been studying that, and that's a hard question because we've actually been trying to study how old is that water, right? Because what you're looking at is water that's coming through that was once snow melt, and so they're actually looking at isotopic dating, which is a big word. Don't worry, we're not going to quiz you later. But we're looking at how old that could possibly be. So that cave right there is really close to a brand new cave that we just discovered. That is one of the longest caves in Arizona. I'm trying to think of the age of that one. I think it went back to the time of the megafauna, so between 10 and 12,000 years as well. But that's a great question, and we need scientists like you with great questions like that to come to Grand Canyon and study more, because that's what we do. Folks come from all over to study Grand Canyon and answer questions like that that we may not have answers to. So awesome question.
Do you really have it?
How cold can it get in the canyon?
Did you say how cold can it get? Is that right? Yeah, well, up on the rim where we are, where you can see all this snow, it can get, as Ranger Amla said, it can get to be negative 20 degrees like it was a few weeks ago. But usually it's not quite that cold. Usually it's maybe it's like 10 or 20 degrees above zero. So it's still pretty cold, but not quite as low as that. But it can get very, very cold on the top. Yeah.
Grace?
How big are the trains?
How big are the trains? So you guys have been doing some research and seen that we do have a train that comes to Grand Canyon every day. This train comes from Williams, which is about an hour and a half away. It's a smaller train, and this time of year, they usually just have a few of, what do you call those?
Passenger cars.
Passenger cars, yeah, because you know how, you guys probably know more about trains than me, actually. When you think of like the caboose and all the different pieces. This time of year in the wintertime, they're relatively small, but what's really neat is you guys can come to the canyon and every day around 11:45, watch the train pull up. And you'll hear it coming in, and it'll start, making the sounds, and so folks will come. In fact, I did that one of my first times coming to Grand Canyon. I came with my parents on the train. And you come through some beautiful forest, and then all of a sudden, there you are at Grand Canyon. Beautiful view, and then you get off and explore, and then when you're ready to go home, you come back on the train.
But they're nothing like the big trains that are commuter trains that are traveling across country. These are just passenger trains, so they're relatively small.
Megan?
Whose house was that? That you showed?
Did you say? Whose house is that? Oh, do you mean when the condor was soaring? That one? We were watching the bird flying around? So that is actually a hotel that's here at the canyon. So if you came to visit here, you could actually stay at that hotel. And you can eat breakfast in the morning and look out at the beautiful view. But a lot of different people get to stay there. So it's not somebody's house, but it is a hotel where people can actually stay when they come and visit here. It's a good question. And it's a really, really pretty place with good food.
Okay, Connor?
What kind of animals live in the little lake down there?
Live in the river, in the Colorado River? Okay. We actually have a variety of different types of fish. We have a lot of trout. We even have an endangered humpback chub, which we're trying to help. In fact, you can ask your teacher to take you to our website and see a video that shows them reintroducing the chub into some of our side streams. So lots of different types of fish, lots of amphibians that are going to be around those water areas. So frogs, like the Grand Canyon tree frog will be down there. So there's definitely a lot in that water. And in fact, you could get a fishing permit, hike down the canyon with your fishing pole, and go fishing in the Colorado River and grab some trout that you can eat that night. Pretty cool.
I think we are going to have to stop the questions, but we have enjoyed your talk so much, and we appreciate all that you've taught us. We've learned so much. We've been studying this, but it's so great to see all the videos and hear you rangers give us such great details. Boys and girls, how about if we have everybody come now? So here, you guys sit down, and then the other ones can come. Kind of gather around, and we're all going to say thank you to you. Okay?
Everybody's in front of me.
Okay, now you guys can stand up now.
Well, they're all crowded.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
And on the count of three, everybody.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you! I can use it on
Oh, you guys are
Thank you. You guys were a great audience, and you had lots of good questions. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you can come out here, and we'll take you on a hike when you come and visit. Okay, make sure you come on out. That would be really fun.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.